Good morning, everybody. Brian, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi, Josh.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, yeah, we're gonna get going here. I know that there's some questions coming in on whether this is gonna be recorded, and yes, this is gonna be recorded so that you guys can listen to this after as well, and as many times as you want, actually. So we're gonna talk about how to choose a fixed index annuity. We're gonna show you how to do that with the best interest standard that's gonna be coming out with Reg BI. We'll talk about that. You guys can all see my screen, so I'm gonna go ahead and log in. We're gonna look at that beautiful dashboard where all the magic happens.
Magic.
And so, Brian, you know, I really want to ask this question because, I'm not in the industry as far as selling annuities. And I see this software as revolutionary. I didn't even know what annuity was. I just saw this software and I go, this is so much fun to play with. And I just want to hear from your perspective, what's the benefit of being able to back test on demand? Especially with the new Reg BI best interest standard coming out in June.
A great question, Josh. Yes. And, with Reg BI coming out in June, it's going to increase the requirement compliance-wise of our industry. And just like Section 151 did, on the security side of our industry, there's a lot of hypotheticals. There's a lot of back testing. There are a lot of things that you can do for clients to show them what kind of history that particular security is done. But over on the fixed side, we don't have anything until Annuity's Genius. The best AI software I've ever seen, and it will backtest showing real time. And most importantly, it's approved with Reg BI coming out in June.
Yeah, it's going to be a real eye opener to a lot of people. But with Annuities Genius, we really do want you to feel like as an agent, you're the captain and that we're your crew. We don't want you to have to worry about being compliant. If you're a subscriber to Annuities Genius, you are being compliant. You're comparing thousands of annuities every single time you sit down with a prospect. It's transparency. That's the key to success. I mean, David, he was doing about $25 million in less than 2 years with this product. And he said it himself. I mean, you can hear it from him. He said transparency is what got him all that success.
Well, the product was not even built fully when we start really enjoying the sales out of it. We start from scratch, from a napkin. And as we grow, the tools start growing and the customers all over the world, real consumers, start telling me, David, how about this? How about that? I cannot trust you by telling me things. I need to see things. And I'm like, wow, how we get there? And that's how Annuities Genius was born. It was born with unconditional love in mind. We used all the sales tactics. We just used feng shui. We used NLP. We used everything I ever knew in the last 40 years of doing things in my life. And we put all that positive energy into the Genius. And here we go, George.
Perfect. So, Brian, what I want to do is I kind of want to go over some hypothetical situations and give our listeners here maybe some different strategies on how to go about dealing with situations that they probably dealt with in the past. But we want to show them how to use Annuities Genius, how they're going to save time, stay compliant, and ultimately, have the best interest of their client in mind and earn more money. That's the key here. So let's say we have a client, okay? He has his money in an IRA and he wants to move it out, somewhere safe, but he's actually worried about the penalties that may occur. So what would be a good suggestion?
Okay, that's great, Josh. Yeah, let's go to the database FIA tool.
Okay. We're going to use my favorite basketball player. I don't know if that's your guys's, but Michael Jordan. He is the best. We'll go ahead and say he's in Florida, $250,000, and he's 58 years old. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. You said go to the database, right?
Right.
Okay.
The database.
All right. Now, one of the cool features I wanted to show you guys before we get going is up at the top left, you have this select strategy. Okay, before you put anything in. When you select the strategy, it's going to give you a box here. Now you can select, fixed rate. You can select fixed rates without fees, participation rates without fees. It's a really cool feature. When you click on, for instance, participation rate, it's going to put in all of the filters for the allocations and all the other filters for the product all the way for you. Okay, it's a really cool feature. Again, we're trying to help you save time here. Okay, that's the goal.
We just pre-select them for you, basically.
Yeah, we pre-select them for you.
The main strategies.
And then you can go in and you can select, if you don't want point to point, you can go any account type. Everything's able to be customized for you. But okay, so Brian, we have this client. He wants to move his money from an IRA, and he's worried about the penalties. So I'm going to click reset. And so what should be my first step in thinking about?
Well, the first step I would look at is what kind of penalties, loads, fees, or charges are we going to have to possibly encumber? And we have the ability on the left-hand side to see that we can use and sort by many things. So by clicking on the sort box, we can sort by participation rate.
Okay.
And that's going to allow us to maximize the growth without any risk in our side of the business. And the next filter down shows us a bonus. We can have a premium bonus.
Okay.
And we can go down to AM Best for ratings. And out of the 15 ratings, of course, we'd like to stay at least A minus, or of course A minus or A dash, some people say, or higher.
Right.
And that will give us a good groundwork to start with, because looking at arrays these days, you never know. You may have a capital gains fee that you'll have to pay when moving mutual funds. You may have an existing surrender charge on an existing variable or indexed annuity that's later that may need to be upgraded from its existing policy, just like your cell phone. Computers get upgraded, telecommunications, of course.
And so this bonus is
taxes
going to be taking care of those penalties, right?
Right. So we're going to use the bonus to help do that. And if we to convert money from an IRA to a Roth IRA, we will have to, of course, pay the taxes, and this bonus will help overcome that tax penalty.
Perfect.
To the client.
So it looks like we're looking at the Athene Performance Elite 7+ with fees. Let's go ahead and select one maybe that doesn't have fees. So we'll go ahead and click the filter there. All right, and it goes with Midland, but let's go with uncapped. All right, and let's see. So maybe we keep the fees in because the bonus is actually a lot higher on that Athene product. And again, we can see that in real time. I like that 6% bonus. And it's got 17 allocation options. Now, I mean, it's pretty hard to find out what's the best strategy for all of these crediting options, especially if you're sitting right there in front of your client.
But not with the Genius.
Not with the Genius. So you guys, what you do is you go over to the right and you see the green Historian tab. Okay, you click on that and it takes you to the Historian tool. Now, this is what is changed in the Historian tool. You can see all of the different crediting options. Okay, we show you what index it's using, how much percent it's using it, and we give it to you in a beautiful little pie chart too. I mean, Brian, have you seen anything like this out there?
I have never seen anything like this. Traditionally, you're looking at a participation rate, a cap, a spread, and you're trying to decide for that client which strategy is the best one to use. There's never been a historical anything close to what amount should I put in each strategy option for anything until the Annuities Genius. And
Yeah,
then now
before it was kind of like throwing darts at a wall, right?
Yeah, it was. Absolutely.
That's funny. Well, so what you guys can see is once you go from the database, you can see everything populates in automatically. Okay, you can see it populate in everything that you chose. You can see all of the information. And let's say you guys want to customize it yourself. We're not opposed to that. You can click custom. Okay, it's going to bring up all of the different indexes that are available, and you can choose whatever strategy you want.
Let's say you choose NASDAQ or whatever, yeah.
Well, and then you can also select, ones that only have live data. And we can see here, some indexes have historical data before the launch date. They still can be back tested, but you may want to include them since, they may provide more risk. You can also do ones that have no fees just by clicking it. Okay, everything is one click away, guys. If you ever want to edit the information up here, all right, you can go ahead and edit. Maybe you want most recent NAIC. Just click next, brings up everything. And another cool feature is you can print this page out. Okay, by printing this page out, you can save this to your PDF and print it out to wherever you want. Now, out of this, Brian, is necessarily the highest, interest rate going to be what we choose, or is there something else that we should look at?
Well, it would depend on if your client thinks that this 2-year BNP Paribas is something that they're familiar with. Maybe they aren't. Maybe they would like more diversity. As we can see, this is all in one crediting method. And as we go through, we can see more diversity through all the different crediting methods and which ones are going to create the most allocation separation or diversity and keep that average interest rate the highest without doing the math yourself. The
Correct.
AI software does it for you. Yep.
And that's the best part about this.
By the way, one thing to add into it, this is less performance. That's what happened in the last 10 years. It's not necessarily going to happen again, people. Okay, so you have to really explain this to the consumer that this is the past performance and it might not happen again, but at least you see how they can perform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's
transparency.
Yeah, transparency is the key to it, man. And so let's say we choose this 50% and 50%. You got the BNP and the NASDAQ. So let's choose that and let's show them what you can do. Now, you can see the allocation options that you're choosing. You get a total quick overview. All right, so back in 2009, you can see all the, accumulation value, guaranteed minimum, and S&P 500. You're able to see the historical index performance. So it does compare those two indexes to the S&P. You have your hypothetical annuity values with the crediting interest rates, accumulation value, guaranteed minimum values. And then you also have the two index performances, and it shows you the allocation percentage. Now, what's really important is kind of what David was hitting on. These represent historical information only. We may not be, used to predict future results because, we don't know how it's going to perform in the future. We can't do that. And the annually credited rates does not reflect rider charges or applicable premium bonuses. We want you guys to know what it is that you guys are presenting to your clients. We want you to stay compliant. Okay, now at the very top, you guys, this is probably one of the coolest parts about Annuity's Genius, is you can print out your own illustrations. Okay, you can click annuity details. You can bring up the product report. Okay, you got all the crediting options, information like age restrictions. You can click on the product brochure. All right, that's always helpful to do right there in front of the client. All right, and we can print that out. So that way you know everything there is to know about this product.
By the way, guys, how you like the look and feel of the reports? We work very hard on this. If you like the look and feel of the reports, please say something or say yes or no in the chat box.
Wow. You guys do love them. That's very cool.
Thank you so much. Go ahead, Josh.
Very cool. All right. And then you also have your historian report. Okay. The historian report is going to illustrate everything that we just looked at. All right. It gives you, everything you need to know about the, product in the past. Gives you the two indexes you chose. Shows you all the bonuses and the riders that come with it. Quick overview. All of that good stuff that we all saw. These are really beautiful reports, and you guys are just confirming that, which is amazing. All right, now don't forget at the very bottom, okay, you do have our compliance. All right, this supplemental report is not valid unless accompanied by a completed product illustration and or disclosure document from the respective insurer. Okay, again, we're just trying to make sure that you stay compliant. Now, another situation that we find ourselves in is maybe it's not so much they're moving their money. Maybe, let's say we have a client that wants his money to grow, but he is worried about the market going down again, and they want their money to grow, but they also want it to, stay safe. So Brian, what would you do in that situation?
Well, Josh, if you would go to the indicator tab, please.
Or no, so, well, if they want it to grow, we're going to go to the analyzer.
Our analyzer, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. All right. And if they're wanting to stay safe, but they want it to grow, what kind of filters would I put in on this left side?
On the left side, we can look at the NAIC, which would be the January to January, or most recent, which would be month to month. The
Right.
10-year performance, of course, we could go with the no cap and the 10-year
Okay.
surrender charge.
10-year surrender charge. Very good.
Mhm.
And it's cool. You just click it and it filters everything
Just
out
one
for
click.
you.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You guys can do it for the averaging types, the rest periods. You guys can even bring up the indexes and choose it by that if you want.
By the way, guys, if you love it, I want you to visualize for a second that you are that consumer. Okay, he feels the same way. By the way, that's his money. Okay, so if you love it as an agent, imagine how much more the consumer will love it to see the transparency and see that you're really showing him. You're not telling him, you're showing him.
Yeah.
And he participates in decision-making process. And as you already know in sales, the second the consumer participates with you in decision-making process, you build trust instantly. Instant trust. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's so key to build that trust with your client. They're trusting you with this, and you're including them into that decision making.
It's their life savings.
It's so great. And just real quick, Jessica Brown, I know you asked a question. Can we put our logo on there? And yes, you can. You can put your logo right here. You can put them on the beautiful reports, and I'll show you how to do that as well. Now, Brian, right here we're looking at the top 40 accounts for growth. Okay, we can see on the left-hand side that this Equitrust has an average for the 10 years, 10.24, but our client is worried about market going down and everything, so he wants to be safe. Let's use an A-rated company. He's familiar with Athene. Athene here has a 9.3. With the best of 10.28, worst of 6.93. Is that a good one to choose? I mean, that seems pretty good to me.
Absolutely. In March 16th, if you had a retirement account starting at $500,000 at 8 o'clock in the morning, by the time you reached the end of the day at 5 o'clock, you would have only had $435,000 left remaining. Translation on that is that you would have lost $64,500. It would have disappeared into thin air in 1 day period of time. So to break that down and keep it simple, on a rough 4% payout rate based on the client's age on 500,000, that's $20,000 a year. That means that client just lost 3 years of income in 9 hours, but not with the Annuities Genius, because we can click on this button here. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we can see is, you can see all the information. We got a 9% bonus. We got a 185% participation rate, and it's using a very reliable index, the BNP. This is definitely a good one. So we're going to click Backtest on this. We're going to go back to that historian tool. It's going to plug in everything for you. Okay, we're not worried about different crediting options. We want the best one, and we can see that we're allocating 100% into that 2-year BNP. And again, guys, you can see a beautiful illustration immediately. This is a point of sales tool for your client. Okay, they can see this in real time. Okay, that's the key to success with Annuities Genius, is being able to show your client, not tell them.
And by the way, we're just using a team just for the illustration purposes. We can use any other company. It just, whatever starts on A, I guess. We just, so just for the record, we have access to almost every company in the market right now, but the boys just decide, to show you whatever the strategy today and whatever the company. So we're not biased. We just We just, whatever we clicked on, that's what we show you. Go ahead.
No. So let's say we have another client. Okay, let's say this client, we detect that he's very analytical. We've all had those clients that, they want to sound like they're smarter than us, and sometimes they are.
He's probably an engineer.
Yeah, maybe he's an engineer or something, and he has some idea of, what index he wants. I think now that's when we go to the indicator tool, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep. That's correct, Josh.
All right, so we'll go to the indicator tool here. This is actually my favorite tool. All right, so we can actually see the indexes in real time, you guys. All right, you can see them all on the left-hand side. You can see when this information, this is as of yesterday, as of today. This is real-time stuff. You can sort this information, by the way, any way you want. If you want to do year-to-date, or you want to look, last year, 2019, you just click the 2019. It's going to show you worst to best, and then it's going to show you best to worst. You can do it for 18, 5 years. We can even do it 10 years, okay? Worst to best, and then best to worst. Now, David, you trade for a living. You trade millions. I've seen you in here. You trade millions and millions of dollars every single month.
Oops, you just open up my can of my secrets.
It's pretty crazy. Out of these indexes, where do you really see this going?
Great question. So I do trade for a living. I trade millions of shares on an everyday basis. I am sometimes I am really trading 4 in the morning when you guys sleeping. So what I really see is the main index that everybody should look at as a professional, especially if you're a trader or something close to that, is the S&P 500 on futures. And that's, by the way, what I trade on the futures markets. I trade S&P and NASDAQ only. My vision is NASDAQ, probably in the next 10 years, NASDAQ will reach 20,000.
Wow.
I really believe that we just scratching the surface on the NASDAQ. That's my personal vision. I might be wrong, I might be right. Nothing personal, but I'm just trying to stay humble and tell you the truth, which I really believe NASDAQ will be at 20,000 in the next 10 years. We only started with NASDAQ 20 years ago. It's, we only had first 1,000 of companies, Apples and Googles came out. Now you have the second and the third wave of technology companies coming out, and Annuity's Genius, Agatha Global Tech is one of them.
Yeah.
So I think NASDAQ, personally, I just love the story on the NASDAQ. I think that sucker is going to grow like crazy.
So let's say we have a client, okay, that has that same feeling. Okay, you don't have to go searching the internet for all these different indexes trying to find it. You can just put it right here in the filter. Okay, now before we do that, we can show you, top 10. Okay, we can go ahead and open the report real quickly by clicking Open Report. Okay, it's going to show them what we filtered it out by, and we did the 10 years, best to worst. And you can show it right there. You can also see it in a pretty cool looking graph if you ask me. All right, we can see the NASDAQ going up all the way. But let's say, let's put it in the filter. Let's say our client, wants to see that. And let's say he wants to, go with the NASDAQ, the FC. Okay, he's not interested in the 100.
But by the way, the one, you could go FIC, but the one that I trade is the NASDAQ futures, and it's closer to NASDAQ 100, just for the record.
Okay. Well, again, we want to be able to show our client, though, what he wants to see. So these blue links that you see, you can click on them, and it's going to bring you to the index ticker. Okay, this allows you to see the index in real time. It also allows your client to see the index in real time so that they know that you're showing them this information unbiasedly. Okay, and another cool feature is from here, if you click the accounts button, it's going to show you what carrier and what product is actually using this the best. All right, it takes you right back to the analyzer tool, but it only plugs in that NASDAQ FC. Okay, and we can see here that it's, goes with Athene. Let's see if there's anyone else that's using it really good.
Wow, Athene is really winning for the NASDAQ, huh?
They're using it well.
By the way, I just heard this morning that they're coming out with another strategy. We'll be uploading this shortly. Go ahead, Josh.
And then from here, Brian, if you were able to get the information pretty quickly on the ticker, that's pretty good. If you're able to, find out which carrier and which product it's going with, that's even better. But this back testing aspect that we can do with literally a click of a button. I mean, just again, how important is that?
You know, I think it's extremely important. As you both have alluded to, it's dynamical, it's unbelievable. It hasn't ever been seen before on planet Earth. So this is exclusive. It's the only place you can get it at Annuity's Genius. So yeah, exactly. If you were dealing with an analytical type, like an engineer, he sees himself as smart, prepared, realistic. He likes to really gather information before he negotiates first, before making any major decisions. So he can look and dial into each index with the Annuities Genius and understand that specific index that he's familiar with. And that's going to add the credibility and all of the decision making right there for him. So he doesn't have to take a bunch of brochures home or paperwork and try to do it that way. And he'll be able to accomplish that decision based on what you can show him immediately versus telling him. And that in itself is worth, one case. And of course, as we all know in this business, that's a significant deal. And this has been proven over time to increase sale closing by 40% plus. That's just an amazing increase.
It really is. It really is. So you guys, these are some situations that I know you're going to find yourself in. And we can see here with Annuities Genius, which is a few clicks of a button and interacting with your client, you're going to be able to gain trust immediately, okay? Because transparency is unbelievable. And most of the time, you're going to end up getting more money from them than what they originally saw, maybe on the lead, because they can see it in real time and say, well, add another 50,000, maybe add another 100,000 of that and see what I would get. Trust me, guys, it happens every single day. Now, what we want to do is we want to open this up for questions. Okay, so if you are at your computer, we already got some questions coming in. All right, please feel free. We'll go ahead and answer them as best we can, or as many as we can. And we'll probably do this for the next 15 minutes.
Sure, we love questions.
Yeah.
Let me just start scrolling down. Yes, you can put your own logo. How do you filter lower rated companies in the report?
So great question, Bill. So so there are some tools that have the A ratings or better. For instance, in the database here, you can select A ratings or better. Okay, now if you just don't even want to have to worry about that every single time, you can go up to your product decks. Okay, and when you go to your product decks, if you click Manage Product Deck, you can go in and select all of the A-rated companies that you want to present. Once you select them, press Save. Make sure you go to Change Product Deck to select the one that you want to change. And then that way it's only going to show A-rated companies. Okay, we can see here that you can do that pretty quickly. All right, great question, great question.
What else do we have?
Let's see.
Please differentiate the green, red, and black values. 10-year performance value was muted. Okay. That's an analyzer, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So in the black, that's the 10-year average for backtesting from 2009 to 2019, December 31st. Now in green, that's the best performance of those 10 years.
Of those particular 10 years that displayed in here.
That's correct. And then in red, that's the worst performance during that 10 years. Now you can see, just because it's red doesn't mean that it's a minus. Okay, if it is a minus like we see in that top one, it does have a minus if it is.
Yes, we're gonna post this webinar on our replays will be available of all the webinars. We grow in the university. It's gonna be somewhere in Genius University, probably in the watch tutorials. We'll figure out with the team where it can be easiest for you. And we're gonna place all the replays, probably we create a separate button for all the replays.
And we'll
so can see that
we'll put that video in somewhere on our platform, but we're also going to upload it to YouTube. So if you go to our YouTube channel,
we are working on a YouTube channel. We're gonna come out with an amazing YouTube channel. We also gonna have our own podcast. I know that some TV shows, a couple of big internet companies reach out to us. Josh just spoke to somebody last week They are dying to give David Novak his own show. So we are working on that too. I don't know, Josh will probably update us in weeks to come. What else? Does a Genius subscription include any market or analysis insight? Just be like heard. Wow, that's a great idea, Marcus.
Yeah.
I was actually not thinking about that. Let me talk to my development team and maybe we can pull this off. Maybe I can just spend 5 minutes every Tuesday on, on updating you on what I do in the markets. That's a great idea. I think we should bring some of that wisdom into here. Great job, Marcus. We should make that note, guys, okay?
Yeah, I made it.
Is there any option to customize for the two best 1 year bucket and 2 year buckets, 50-50 allocations? Of course, that's very easy to do. When you schedule your 2-minute demo, we have a lot of questions to go through. When you schedule your one-on-one demo with either Josh or anybody, Brian or anybody on the team, they will be more than gladly walk you through every little question. We just have 10,000 questions just came in. So I'm going to go run through them. But yes, you can do that with one click. Next question. My concern is the low interest environment carriers can actually lower their caps and rates. Does your software illustrate in any way? Of course we do. Be very transparent. Remember, we have a little tool called Rate Scout tool. All the rate changes will appear in here. You could just click on a change and you see the cap 2%. Actually, it's going up, going to 3.5% cap. You can also click on the detail window and touch this little arrow. It's like a stock market, right? You can see that David trades for a living. You just touch the arrow up and down. It's going to show you when it's changing and what is it changing for and to. Really cool stuff. Other questions? Illustrate this anyway. Fantastic. Can you compare Allianz 222 for any income versus FNG? 7% withdrawal. That is very cool question. Yes, we can compare that in a second inside our calculator. Just inside the calculator. I'm sure we can go through it, or you can see, watch the videos. By the way, guys, those who already subscribe to the Genius, you already know that every tool have whatever. Every tool you go to have how to use videos on the right, on the top right. Okay, how to use the videos. Okay, it's very easy to explain. So we do have all that stuff available. You can see, and if that's not enough, call the 800 number. We'll walk you through one by one. For those who are members of the Genius, will get other bonuses and things. We're also coming out with Annuities Genius certificate. So you're officially going to be the Annuity Genius. Do you have allocate money every year for the clients? We're going to write this down. We're going to take a look. Do you have allocate money for the year every client? I'm sure we have our developers on this webinar too. We can go through this with them. More questions. Wow. Okay. How does the software analyze variable annuities and their performance, net the fees, and might compare with a fixed annuity? We have a tool that does that. We don't have time, unfortunately, to go through the tool today, but I'll show you where to locate that tool. It's called Transition Tool. And this tool will help you compare and see if it's eligible for the transfer from variable to the fix. Next question. Any annuity? Are you aware of Annuity Check software program and how does that compare to yours? Well, Von Johnson, my friend, are you a customer or not yet? We just showed you, I know we're gonna have some fun in a second. We just showed you what the Annuity Genius does. So please answer that question for me. Is Annuity Genius comparable to that mentioned software that you mentioned to us? Please answer to us. I'm curious to see your answer. Does this software compare to Annuity Rate Watch or LB Calc that been around for some times? How different is it better? Well, Von Johnson, why don't you answer that to me again? Or maybe some people who is on a webinar, we have about 250 people in the webinar, maybe they can help you answer that question too. I'm having fun. I deserve to have some fun. This life is too stressful lately. David likes to have some fun. That's your history, right, Brian?
Yes.
Brian, how is it comparable to other tools? You're an outsider. Can you please tell us in 20 seconds?
In 20 seconds, yes. Everyone else is going to primarily compare participation rates, caps, and spreads. That doesn't mean anything when it comes to making your clients money. We need to show history. We need to show average historical rates, and that's Annuity's genius.
Thank you so much. You know, everybody have a shot, you know, but my grandfather used to say, if you cannot beat them, join them. I'm having more fun, Bill. Thank you so much for responding.
So Laura, you asked, can this be shared with clients online? And of course it can. Just as we're sharing our screen with you, if you have a screen sharing software, I mean, if you love this as much as you do, imagine how much your clients are going to love this. You're going to be able to talk to them through a computer sharing software, and they can see Annuity's genius go to work. And trust me, they're going to give you all the credit. They will call you an Annuity's genius. It's pretty fantastic.